All right, so move on to the next segment. I'll be sharing my fight summary on the fight that took place in the co-main event of UFC 304 between Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blaydes. So, in the co-main event of UFC 304, we saw Tom Aspinall successfully retain his interim heavyweight championship against Curtis Blaydes in the co-main event of UFC 304. So, my thoughts on this co-main event, well, there's not really much to cover, but Tom Aspinall did get his revenge on the person that gave him his only UFC loss since he's arrived to the company. That being Curtis Blaydes, when those two respective heavyweights fought in the summer of 2022, when Tom Aspinall tried to land a leg kick on Curtis Blaydes, and we all know that Tom Aspinall's knee basically exploded in the octagon that night. But the fact that Tom Aspinall knocked out Curtis Blaydes in a matter of 60 seconds in the co-main event of UFC 304 showed me that Tom Aspinall is everything you want in a future heavyweight champion in the UFC. The man has striking abilities. The man moves around in the octagon like he's not 250, 260. Moves around like a light heavyweight. Move around that octagon like he's 205 pounds. He's quick. He's athletic. The man is everything you want in a heavyweight champion because he's entertaining as hell while he's in that octagon. And I have to say, for the 60 seconds that the fight did last for, Tom Aspinall had me pretty entertained. Now, did I think it was going to last 60 seconds? No. I thought at least it would go to the second round, but Tom Aspinall proved me wrong and had a pretty good performance and proved why he is a legitimate threat at this heavyweight division. Now, the only thing I think Tom Aspinall needs to work on is the grappling game, the grappling department. I don't think we've really seen Tom Aspinall really tested in the grappling against a pretty good grappler in the UFC just yet, but I think down the line we will, possibly against John Jones or another heavyweight down the line. So we'll see what's next for Tom Aspinall, but this was a really good performance against Curtis Blaydes in the co-main event of UFC 304 in front of his home country of England. Now, what's next? Actually, I got a stat for you guys before I get into that. Tom Aspinall has the most first-round knockouts since he's made his debut in the UFC in 2020. Tom Aspinall has 7 knockouts, and his average fight time, and with his last 4 opponents in the octagon, has been an average time of 3 minutes and 37 seconds that he spent in the octagon with his last 4 opponents. So, the man doesn't get paid by the minute. The man does not get paid by the hour. The man gets paid by performances. The man gets paid for being in the octagon to perform. The man gets bonuses when he finishes off his opponent. So Tom Aspinall obviously does not work by the minute. He likes to get things done as quick as possible. But having the most knockouts and having the quickest average time with your last 4 opponents of 3 minutes and 37 seconds is pretty impressive at this heavyweight division in the UFC. So I have to give Tom Aspinall his credit. He's growing on me. I'm becoming a fan of his. He's very entertaining. What is there really not to like about Tom Aspinall right now? So, what's next for Tom Aspinall? Now, I will say this. If it were up to me, I would line up Tom Aspinall versus John Jones next in the heavyweight division because Dana White, Hunter Campbell, and the rest of the UFC executives know this does not make any damn sense to have an interim heavyweight champion for this long. There is no 2 champions in a division in the UFC. This is not boxing. They are their own personal brand in the MMA world. There's 1 champion per division. And I think if it were up to me, I would settle it right here, right now, by the end of 2024. Have John Jones versus Tom Aspinall for the heavyweight championship. So we find out who's the best heavyweight. But I like Tom Aspinall's idea. I do believe it is fair to get John Jones versus Stipe, a fight that we were supposed to get in the main event of UFC 295 towards the end of the year in Madison Square Garden last year. So I like Tom Aspinall's idea. Not having these fights in the same night, of course, and then these guys fighting all in one night. But I like John Jones versus Stipe happening for the heavyweight title. Then you can have Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira for the interim heavyweight championship. I don't think there's really any competition for Alex Pereira at the light heavyweight division. I just think he's a levels above everybody in that division. And I think he's going to have a vice grip on that title until he's ready to move up. And I think this is the right time to move up to the heavyweight division because things are getting very interesting once again at this division. So why not have a mini tournament to find out who the best of the best is? Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira for the interim title. John Jones versus Stipe for the heavyweight title, with the winners of those respective fights fighting each other for the heavyweight title sometime in 2025. I like the likes of that. I like the sound of that. It sounds like a money for 2 of those fights. Let's set it up, Dana White and Hunter Campbell. I think that's best. That being said, what's next for Curtis Blaydes? I don't know where Curtis Blaydes goes at this point. I mean, every time I've seen him on a big time stage when things matter, he's coming up short. And there's nothing wrong with that in the UFC. Some guys are built to be world champions. Some guys are built to be in the scene. Some guys are built to have good careers but never win the world title. Do I think Curtis Blaydes is capable of continuing to be a threat in the heavyweight division? Yes. Good striker, good wrestler. But I just seen him come up short against guys like Derek Lewis or Francis Ngannou, and now Tom Aspinall getting knocked out in big fights and big moments. I just don't know where Curtis Blaydes turns right now. So it's definitely back to the drawing board for him. And we'll see what's next for him in the heavyweight division. But that is my Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blaydes fight summary for the co-main event at UFC 304.